and then I'm going to start by sharing my screen with you. And what we're going to look at today is establishing a side suit before drawing trumps. So please keep any background noise down or mute yourselves. If it gets noisy, I'll mute you. So there are a number of situations when you're declarer playing in a suit contract. Sometimes you need to draw trumps right away, and there are some situations where it's a good idea to delay drawing trumps or delay drawing all the trumps. Sometimes because you want to ruff, sometimes another reason is because you need to establish a side suit first. And we're going to have a look at some situations involving that. So let's have a look at this hand here, where you were south, you opened 2 no trump. North bid 2 clubs, which is Stayman. Okay. And East came in with a 3 heart overcall. Now, that's I'll talk about that for a minute. If they overcall like this, but you have a 4 card major you were going to bid anyway, you can go ahead and bid it. You can bid 3 spades. If you don't have one that you can bid, then you could do a couple of things. I would suggest that if you have a stopper in the suit overcalled, you could bid 3 no trump, because your partner is obviously looks like they're headed towards game here. Or if you don't have either, if you didn't have a stopper and if you didn't have a 4 card suit, you could pass, because your partner will get to bid again. But here you have a 4 card spade suit, so you bid 3 spades and your partner raises you to 4 spades, okay? And the opponents start by leading a heart, the 5 of hearts, and down comes dummy. And I'm going to launch a poll question now. And so don't answer this question verbally, but the question is, how many losers do you expect you have here? So I'm going to launch that question, and you can move that to part of the screen if it's blocking your view. And just click on what you think is the correct answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
It's gone.
No, not in this one.
I believe you can change your vote in this, although I've not done that.
Okay, this one we can look for. 2, 3, 4.
Hearts, you got 2.
3.
We've still got a few more people who could vote. We had 22 votes in. There's another 11 people who've not voted yet.
My voting bit is gone.
Oh.
You said mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
when I
well.
tried to move it, it's gone.
Oh, well, okay. I'm sure you're going to vote the right answer. Anyway, let's end the polling there. And yeah, nearly everyone, well, 80% have, 79% have got the answer of 3, and some others have said 4 or 5. So let's have a look at what we mean by that, how we calculate that. So normally you look at it from one hand's point of view, but taking into account all the strength in the other hand. And you can do it from your own hand's point of view, looking at the strength in dummy, or vice versa. It's normal to look at it from your own hand's point of view, especially if you have more trumps, although here we have equal length of trumps. But if we look at it from our own hand's point of view, how many spade losers have we got?
None.
None. And we've got 2 heart losers, okay, and 1 diamond loser. Yeah. So we don't have any club losers.
No.
So we start off with what looks like 3 losers, 2 hearts and 1 diamond. So the majority of you got that right. So let's have a look at how it goes. And let's suppose East plays the Jack, carries on with another heart. We expected to lose those 2 tricks. And suppose they play a third heart. What are you going to play?
Queen.
Yeah, you're going to
Definitely.
rough this one, aren't you? But you have to be aware, especially with that overcall, that it's quite likely that West could overruff if you rough low. So the first thing you've got to do right here is to rough high with the ace, king, or queen, and West indeed discards. So you're able to make that trick. Okay. Now let's suppose you start drawing trumps at this point. So we play 1 round, play a second round. It's a good idea just to think about how many trumps are left.
One.
We've drawn 2 rounds and we roughed once, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12. So 10, 11, 12. So there's 1 out. Now, let's suppose you decide to draw that one. Okay. Well, the problem now is that you now don't have any trumps in the south hand. And if you now try to play the diamonds, to set up the diamonds, East can win with the ace of diamonds. And if they play back another heart, you're going to lose that trick because you've run out of trumps. Okay?
True.
So they will take a 4th trick there. They can't take any more than that because you can rough in dummy after that. But you will be down 1 if you try to draw all the trumps. Okay? How should you play that one? Let's look at that hand again, played in a different way. This time I'm exposing 4 hands. So again, they start off with 2 hearts. And when they play the 3rd heart, you rough as before. And what you want to do here is you've got 2 things you want to do. You want to draw trumps at some point, but you also want to set up the diamonds. And if you, let's suppose you draw 2 rounds, just as we did before. Now, you can see what went wrong last time was that we cashed the ace of spades and then had no more trumps in our hand. In fact, if you click on this GIB button, which shows you the makeable contract, it will say that if you now cash the ace of spades, you will go down, which is what happened. What we have to do instead is set up the diamonds while we still have a trump to rough with, okay? So what we need to do is, let's say, start with a 10, winning in the shorthand. Now if they take their ace and play back a heart, we still have a trump to rough with, our last trump, but we can rough with that one there, okay? Now what we need to do is draw the remaining trump. There's still a trump out because we haven't drawn it, but we can cross over to dummy with the queen of clubs, cash the jack, and now the rest of the hand is ours. We've got the 2 diamonds and the 2 clubs. So we delay drawing trumps there until we had established that side. Any comments or questions on that? Let's try another one. Let's try this one where you opened 1 spade and your partner jumped to 3 spades and you bid 4 spades. And I've got another poll for you here, similar question, which is how many potential losers does Declarer have? How many losers, or if you like, how many potential losers? So have a little look at that, think about it, and let me know your answer.
How do you move this?
Obscuring the board.
Yes.
You might be able to move it. I'm not sure if it's.
No, it didn't move.
It didn't move. You can't move it.
So I lost it.
No.
Sorry. Shall I? Well, let's.
Give us
Look.
a little time to see the.
I didn't
Yeah,
give you time. Shall I? I'll tell you what. I'll end this. I'll. Sorry, I need to.
Okay, you can put the poll up now. We've seen the board.
Okay, can you see it? See it now?
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
not
we can.
completely.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So you need to vote again. If you haven't.
Really?
2. 2
I'll wait till it gets to about 80%. Some people may not vote. And by the way, these votes are all anonymous.
hearts. 1.
Are you sure?
I am sure. Okay, you've nearly all voted. So I'm going to end the poll there and share the results with you. And you can see the overwhelming result have gone for 4.
Yeah.
Okay, there are 4 potential losers there. Let's look at the hand again. Let me clear this off. Someone is, I'm going to have to mute you all, sorry, because there's a bit of feedback. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at the hands together. 4 losers, we said, yes. So looking at it from the point of view of the south hand, we can see there are 2 heart losers, 1 diamond loser, and 1 club loser. So we have 4 potential losers there. Now, we're going to lose those 2 hearts right away, it looks like. But can we avoid any of the other losers? Well, what we have on this hand is we have that club suit. And that club suit could be a source of an extra trick. In other words, we're going to lose to the ace, but then we'll be able to play the clubs and we'll be able to discard a loser, a diamond loser, presumably from the south hand. So that's how we're going to do it. So let's see how it goes. They start off with the ace of hearts, play the king of hearts, and now let's suppose they shift to a diamond. Well, we're going to win that. Now, we've got a couple of things we want to do here as before. We want to draw trumps, and we also want to play the club suit to establish a clubs. But here, it's okay to draw trumps first. If you can draw trumps right away, you should, because we still have that king of diamonds, which is going to stop them taking the other diamond trick. So what we're going to do, and this is what you should do whenever you can draw trumps, is to draw them first. We play 1 round, second round is discard, so there's 1 more trump to go. And now we've drawn trumps, now we're going to turn our attention to clubs. We're going to play the clubs. If they don't take their ace, we'll carry on. And now whatever they play, suppose they play a diamond, we can win that one, but we've got time to play the remaining good clubs now, and we can, as we planned, discard that diamond, and we'll make those last 2 trumps. So this was a relatively simple hand where we could draw trumps, and we didn't need to delay drawing trumps at all. Just look at this hand and see what happens if you try to set up the clubs before you've drawn trumps. So this is the same hand, but played slightly differently. They take 2 hearts, they switch to the queen of diamonds, and can you see that if you now play clubs, you're in danger of getting a club ruff. In fact, if you play that king and East takes the ace, East can give his partner a ruff, okay? And you can lose another trick that way, all right? So now that you can come in here with your king, you can draw trumps now, but you'll be left, oh, sorry, you've already, sorry, I just need to move my screen so I can see what's going on. But you've already lost those 4 tricks there. Okay, so on this hand, you should draw trumps, and it's a good idea to draw trumps if you can first, but not on the earlier hand. All right. Any questions on that? Let's try another one. Here you've opened 1 spade. It's gone 2 hearts. Your partner bid 2 spades, 3 hearts, and you have a very nice hand here. And I think I bid 4 spades with that hand. If you count your losers, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losers. So it's much stronger than it might be for an opening hand. It's 2 tricks stronger. I think 4 spades is a good bid there. And suppose your opponents lead a heart here. Now, how many losers would you expect here? I won't do a poll because you're used to it now, but how many losers would you expect? How many spade losers?
None.
None. How many hearts?
1.
1.
One.
How many diamonds?
Two.
Two. And no clubs. So it looks like we're in good shape. We've got 3 losers, a heart and 2 diamonds. However, we can go wrong on this hand, and let's see how. Let's suppose they start with 2 hearts, and you ruff the first round. Now, suppose we draw trumps. Suppose we play the ace of spades and another spade where they discard. So there's still 1 trump out. So let's get rid of that. Okay. And now all the trumps have gone, and it would seem that all you now need to do is play the diamonds. But there is a danger here, because at this point, if the opponents win, they're going to win twice in diamonds, the ace and the king, and you've only got 1 trump left in your hand. So you will only be able to ruff once. In other words, this is what could happen. They could take the king, play a heart, you ruff with your last trump there, but you still haven't set up the diamonds. So they'll get in again with the ace of diamonds, and when they play their heart again, you're out of trumps, okay? And they will take 4 tricks that way. So what went wrong on that hand, if we rewind it, was that even though you had really good trumps here, you needed to keep 2 in this hand, because in diamonds, to set up that suit, you expected to lose a lead twice. So how can you do better than that? Well, let's replay this slightly differently. So they take their 2 hearts, you draw 1 round of trumps, draw a second round, and then even though you haven't finished drawing trumps, you have to stop at this point. In fact, if I bring up this GIB link, it will again tell you that if you play another spade here, you can be defeated by 1 trick. What you need to do is leave that trump out for now, while you still have 2 spades in your hand, so that you can establish the diamonds. And that's because you need to lose a lead twice. So what can happen here is, if the opponents win the king of diamonds, if they play a heart now, you can ruff, you can play another diamond, and if they play another heart, you still have a trump left. Okay, and now you're okay. You can cross over to dummy, draw trumps, and both your clubs and your diamonds are good.
Nah, hamra nahi.
Sorry, was there a question there, or are you just someone talking? Okay, I just muted you all. So anyway, so you can make that contract, but you mustn't draw all the trumps until you've set up the diamonds. There is another way you can make that, and maybe you'll find this one a little bit simpler, which is actually to play diamonds early on. So another way you can make this is the same hand. Okay, let them take the ruff that one, and then before you draw trumps, just try to play on diamonds. In other words, give up 1 diamond. If they play another heart, you've got plenty of trumps here. Play another diamond, and now whatever they play, you've still got trumps to draw the opponent's trumps with. So now I'm in now. All I need to do now is draw the trumps, which I delayed doing for a little bit. There's still a trump out, so I need to draw that with the king, but now the rest of my hand is good. So it amounts to the same thing, but you want to you either need to ruff early on, either play the diamonds early on, or keep enough trumps so that the opponents can't exhaust you of trumps when you're setting up your side suit. Anyone have a question on that? Here's another example. Let's suppose you've opened 1 spade. They bid 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 3 clubs. You bid your second suit, let's say, 3 hearts, and your partner takes you to 4 spades. So they lead a club here, and I'm not going to launch a poll, but how many losers would you expect here? What's the total number of losers you'd expect?
2.
If the trumps divide as they should most of the time, although people say they don't on BBO, you hope that they will divide 3-2 and you won't lose any trumps.
Yeah, but it's
In
2
that-
to 3.
Yeah. So in that case, if you don't lose any trumps, you won't lose any hearts. You're just going to lose a diamond and a club. Okay. So let's see how it goes. Let's suppose they start with a second round of clubs, and you rough that. Okay. Now let's suppose you start off by playing trumps and seeing how they divide. So you play the ace, and you play the king, and if everyone follows, now you're in great shape, because there's still a trump out, but you've got 2 trumps, so you can draw that last trump, and now you still have a trump that you will need to regain the lead when the opponents win their ace of diamonds. So in other words, I'm going to play my diamonds now, carry on with it until they take their ace, and now if the opponents switch back to a club, I still have a trump. Okay, it's only the 6, but it's good enough. It's a last trump, and it will allow me to regain the lead so I can cash the remaining tricks. And as predicted, we can manage 11 tricks if we play it that way. Suppose, though, that when you come to play, we'll play the same hand again, but now we get a less favourable trump break. Let's suppose this is the same hand from north-south point of view. So we rough that second club, and we start on spades just as we did. But when we play the second round, we get the bad news that West discards. So if you're counting the spades, what you'll realize is that there are 2 spades still out, the Jack and the 10, and East has them both. And now we can't afford to play the hand in the same way. In fact, again, if I use this GIB button, it will tell me that if I play another spade, I can be defeated by 2 tricks. Okay, if I play the Queen of Spades, I can go down by 2 tricks, because I will lose control of the trumps. What I now need to do, because the trumps divided badly, I need to establish the diamond suit while I still have controls in the trumps. Now if East wins the ace of diamonds, if they shift back to a club, I can rough that in dummy. I still have a trump in dummy there, okay, and I can rough it over there. All right. So now we've each got 2 trumps, but they're only going to win 1 trick. I can come back to my hand here, and you can do this a variety of ways. If you can cash the queen, okay, that's fine, but you must not play that last trump. Okay, that's your protection, if you like. And again, I think this will show that if I play that, I'll be defeated by 2 tricks here. So what instead I'm going to do, I've set up the diamonds now, and I've got the hearts as well. So I'm just going to play those off. At some point, East can rough. We don't really care when that is, because we've still got a trump. And then if he plays another club, we'll get in and take our last trick. So these kind of battles where you're running out of trumps, you need to preserve your trumps in a number of situations, are quite interesting. And basically what I'm saying is that you play the hand slightly differently depending on the trump break. If you can draw trumps, then do it. But otherwise, you may need to establish a side suit before you draw trumps.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Yes, East, once they get the lead with the ace of diamonds, they could lead a trump too, couldn't they?
Yeah,
Just
that's what I
to
was going to.
make it difficult?
Okay, let's see. We'll go to the winning the ace of diamonds here. Okay, and let's see what happens if they lead a trump. Well, I think we're
You still make
okay.
it.
Yeah, I think we're okay, because we can win this, and now our diamonds are set up. So
Yeah.
GIB is saying that there's nothing they can do here to defeat you, because now while you've still got trump, you've got control. You've got control of trump, and the diamonds are set up. The one other thing I wanted to mention is looking at this situation from the point of view of the defence. Sorry, it's a bit noisy. I'm going to mute. Yeah,
Before you move away from that
yeah,
question,
yeah.
once they play the jack or 10, do you
Yeah.
let it go or do you take it with the queen, or does it make a difference?
Shall we see?
Okay.
Let's suppose they play the jack, and let's see what happens if we play what the computer is saying. Okay, so the computer is saying emphatically you must take it. Okay, because well, what would happen if you play low? Ah, yes. If you play low, then they will play a club. Can you see that?
All right.
Forcing you to ruff with your last trump while they still have a trump. So it will go down 3
Okay. Thank
potentially.
you.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question. I'm sure others had the same view. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that to look at this from the point of view of the defence, this is one of the hands we were looking at earlier. And let's just look at it from East's point of view, where they played the King of Hearts, tried to cash another heart, and Declarer ruffed. Okay. Now Declarer draws trumps. Okay, so they draw another round of trumps, and they play diamonds now. And suppose East gets in with the King of Diamonds. Now, you may think as East that having got in with the King of Diamonds, that there is no point playing another heart, because Declarer has already ruffed a heart. But that is not the case. In fact, if I bring up the hands, the computer analysis is actually saying that the only way to defeat this contract is to carry on with hearts. Because even though Declarer ruffed earlier, they can only ruff in one hand. In fact, if you were keeping track of the trumps, you will know that Declarer just has one trump left in their hand. And by you playing a heart, you're forcing them to ruff, and now they won't be able to ruff the last heart, which your partner will lead later on. So it's a very good idea when you're leading. Be wary of leading a suit where Declarer is void and dummy is also void. That's nearly always a bad thing to do. But leading a suit where Declarer can only ruff in one hand is not necessarily a bad thing to do, especially if it's their own hand, and especially if you figured out that they've just got one trump left. Okay, so don't always, because when these hands come up, I often see the defenders, they see that Declarer's ruffed already, so they switch to another suit. That can be the right thing to do, but it's not always. And on hands like this, it can be quite okay to carry on leading a suit, even though the Declarer can ruff, as long as they can't ruff in both hands, which would give them an opportunity to ruff and discard. But otherwise, it can be a good tactic to force Declarer to keep ruffing. Okay? So that was it for today. Anyone have any questions they want to raise about any of those? I have muted you, so you'll have to unmute yourself if you want to ask.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
How do we decide which one's for drawing trumps and which one you shouldn't?
Well, so as Declarer, draw trumps if you can. But if you realise that you're going to have to establish a suit and let the opponents in, then you have to think carefully about whether you need to keep trumps, one or more trumps back, so that you can prevent them ruffing, so that they so you can stop them. So there's no hard and fast rule, unfortunately, as is the case in bridge. But I would say try and draw trumps if you can, but you may realise, especially if you get a bad trump break, for example, that you can't afford to draw them all and you need another tactic.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's
Thank
it for
you.
today. I hope you all enjoyed that.
Yes,
And
thank
we'll
you.
see you all online around 2 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Tony.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.